name is Elise and I'm totally obsessed with my luxury garden. Right now I'm outside on an extremely windy day here in Tobiano, BC, and I'm talking about beans. These beans look like they are dead right now, and that is exactly what I want. So what I'm doing is I'm harvesting these beans now that they have completely dried out on the vine. I want to store these in jars so that I can use them in stews and soups this winter. Of course, beans can be eaten straight off the vine, fresh, sauteed, or raw. They're delicious. Some of the beans I have down here over on the side are bush beans, and I've eaten those fresh already. The beans that I have here are Beans Blue Lake bush beans. Those are the ones off to the side here. They were kind of one and done. I picked a bunch of them in a bowl for a meal, and then they didn't grow again. So those were a one and done bush bean. They stay small and compact, and they look really good at the edge of vegetable beds. The vines I have here are a different type of pole bean. These ones grow up beautifully on trellises. As you can see, I have a trellis here and they're running up the side of my house. And before they started to dry out like this, they looked extremely beautiful as you come around the corner and walk down to the garden. They're creeping up the side of the house and it just looks fabulous. But like I said, this was intentional because I want the beans dried. Beans are an awesome vegetable to grow because they're super easy. You plant them straight into the ground in springtime. You don't have to start anything inside, and then they just go on their own. You water them regularly, and that's about it. You don't have to, but I did actually fertilize them once or twice with big ass carrot fertilizer. It has an NPK ratio of 1:9:3, and that seemed to do the trick. It's 100% organic fertilizer made in Canada, and I love it. Another great thing about beans is that they are very economical. You can easily save the seeds by just opening up the seed pod, taking out the beans once they are dried. You can save the beans in an envelope, a paper envelope, not plastic bags, and then you can just plant them again the following year. So you never actually have to repurchase seeds. This is a free way to grow food. All you have to do is amend the soil with compost each year and just keep reusing the seeds that you save. So here we go. I'm going to start harvesting these completely dried bean pods, and I'm going to be storing them for fall, winter stews and soups. So I'm going to open up one of these that is extremely dry. Oh yeah, see, that is perfect. See, these ones are crispy and crunchy. I can just crunch these up and they break easily, and inside the seeds are really hard. So that's perfect. These can go into soups and stews and whatever else, and then the pods are going to go into my compost. Now these ones, let's open these. These ones are still a little bit soft. Inside the seed is still soft, so I'm actually going to keep these softer ones and saute them tonight for dinner. And I'm going to leave any soft ones on the plant that I see, and I'm actually only going to continue to pick the really dry ones. So one like this, you can see it still looks pretty nice and it's still soft, but these are starting to bulge out, so that one's not ready to be taken off. I want it to dry out even more on the vine before I pick it. However, something like this is really hard and crispy, so that one's going to come off. All of these ones are going to come off. This one is going to stay on unless I wanted to take it off to eat it tonight, which I'm not going to do. I already picked off some like this, just as an example. I'm going to eat these tonight, but I'm going to go ahead and continue picking these ones here. So you know these are getting close when they're still soft, but the beans inside are starting to bulge out. And if you do want to eat them fresh off the vine, it is best to pick them early in the morning so that they stay sweet and crisp. Right now I am early afternoon, so it's not the best time, but it's still okay. It doesn't really matter too much, but if you do want to be following things to a T, early morning is better. I'm going to be happy when all of these beans are dried and taken down, because this is starting to look a little bit like a Halloween scene with these dried up vines at the side of the house. So I have all of the dried beans pulled off. I'm going to take each bean out of the pod and put them into a jar so that they can be stored. Here is a closer up view of the bush bean that I was talking about. I had, oh, there's some new ones there. I had taken a bunch of these off about a month ago and eaten them for dinner. And as you can see, there's only a couple that have grown since then. So these bush beans are a one and done. So I'm probably going to cut this off pretty soon and put it into compost so that this herb here, this rosemary, can get a bit more light as it's getting blocked by this bush bean. Here are the beans that are remaining on the whole beans here. I'm going to leave those so that they can continue to dry. Here's a closer up view of the beans that I grew. These are Neckar Gold Wax pole beans. Brand is Mackenzie Canada. And then the bush beans beside them are here, like I said, Blue Lake beans. They were very, very delicious. And then here's just a closer up view of the fertilizer that I'm using. Big ass carrots. And again, I only use this fertilizer maybe once. I did start the season with some compost in there and the beans seem to do very well, so this was just a top up. Now that I'm back inside and away from the wind, I can sort these. Anything that is compost is going to go into this box here. I'm going to open up each seed pod, bean pod, and this is going into compost. Any of these completely dried out bean seeds are going to be saved for spring and also stored. So I'm just going to keep going with this. And then any beans that look like this and are still soft and pliable, those can be eaten fresh. So I shouldn't have picked these. I actually wanted them to dry out, but I had just kind of grabbed a few to give examples. I took too many here. But I will set these aside and have these in dinner tonight. When storing these for saving them to plant in the spring, definitely do not want to store them in plastic baggies. I'll store them in envelopes. That way moisture does not get trapped inside. Okay, I'm going to keep going with this. As you can see, it is a little bit labor intensive. So it's probably going to take me about 15 minutes to go through all these. But I do think it's worth it. I like doing this stuff. I think it's fun, and it means that I won't have to spend any money on seeds for the spring. So for me, that's a big bonus. And also I really am excited to try them in chili. Starting to get a bit of a rhythm going where I can bust open the whole thing in one go. It makes it much faster. Split at the seam, open up, and hopefully they fall out. Look at what these dried beans look like. I am so happy with these. These are beautiful. So I have the soft ones that I'm going to eat, the dried ones I'm going to store. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching me as I harvest and talk about beans. I hope it will inspire you to grow some yourself and start experimenting with some veggies in your own garden. The thing about beans, they can also be done in a container with a trellis, just one of those $5 wire ones that you often use with tomatoes. I hope you have a great day and happy gardening!